The Microsoft Flight Simulator has a brand new museum piece, a brand new plane, everybody, as you can see it right here, the Fokker F28. And I'm saying it in a very weird way in order to not get demonetized because it sounds like fuck. Yes, everybody, this is the vintage regional plane from the 1960s, and I'm a little bit excited to fly it, actually. You know, I love these quirky old planes added in. Old regional jets like the DC-9. You know, we all love the tail video. The good old BAC plane, all those things, you know, you can see how regional jets have evolved over the years. Yes, this plane is relatively limited, and we're going to talk about that today. Made possible through Just Flight, who just released their new add-on here again for 65 euros. A price that some people may find a bit expensive. I mean, I just read some review comments here. It looks good to me, but a bit pricey. Ridiculous pricing. Too expensive. No thanks here. But I think the pricing is relatively justified. So we've got 4 variants here of the F28, you know, several sizes from the 1000 to 4000, a very regular thing for regional jets, that there's, you know, smaller version and the bigger version. You know, of course, different lengths, and I can't wait to finally sit in it. So maybe let's spawn into, maybe the 1000, because we're on a short runway here at Courchevel Airport. This might be a bit challenging. Yes, everybody, welcome aboard the smaller one. It's time to finally take a look into the cockpit. And I mean, it's Just Flight after all, you know, and they once again have released an incredibly rendition of this vintage airplane. You know, every switcher in this cockpit works. And, you know, considering how hard it is to, like, properly simulate a plane like this, especially also with the MCDU that was, you know, redone, which looks absolutely incredible here with the radar here. Every switch works, of course, too. I think the pricing is justified. Come on, let me take a little bit of a tour here. So here we go. We've got a co-pilot here. We named him Dave a while ago. Good old overhead panel. Doesn't even look too complicated, if I have to be honest here. We've got the circuit breakers. Those don't work. So no, this is not the most realistic thing we've ever had, but that's fun. Let's maybe go into the cockpit here. There we go. Open the cockpit door, and we can see the interesting cabin configuration. Very original airliner style. We've got a 3x2 row configuration here. Yeah, definitely very, very small, but it doesn't look all too cramped, especially if you compare it to like a CRJ 200, which sucks. Anyway, this Dutch plane here from the 1960s, yes, it was introduced in 1969, you know, the same year the Concorde was introduced. Looks pretty damn good. Now, this plane was produced all the way up to the late 80s here in 87. Only 241 of these were built, though. No, this was not the most, you know, successful plane ever. It's known as a bit of an underrated underdog. It's a great plane considering the time. And you can see that because it's still flying today. It's in limited military service. Looking great. So let me take a little bit of a flight here in this airplane here. We can go full power here. Yes. Let's maybe take a bit of a look. How does this thing fare? How does this thing perform? Let's go and just release the brakes right here. Plane really wants to go off. There we go. Going full power now down the runway. After all, you know, regional little airports might have short runways, which this plane doesn't fare all the way. Okay, you know, we are crashing. Yes, this plane wasn't known for incredibly good runway performance, especially because this plane didn't feature any reverse thrust at all. They did this to save weight, to save costs in general too. This plane did not feature any of this at all. So that is definitely an old limitation of the old Fokker plane, but something we do have is, of course, an air brake like this kind of seen on the Avro, which still flies around today. A plane that I love, you know, the Mini 747. Now, while the Avro is known as a relatively quiet plane, this plane is known as a relatively loud plane, but no, not being able to operate at certain airports. Let's come on, let's maybe go ahead and maybe try to just land it right here. We're after all looking at, you know, Courchevel 500-meter long runway. All little instruments, all of which work here. Absolutely beautiful. We can do it. Got a terrain warning here. Oh God. All right, there we go. That's spot. Oh, that was the landing. All right, there we go. Let's stop now, which might just work here. We've got a nice slope here. Yes, there we go. We are barely stopping. Okay, actually, you know what? This is kind of working. Everybody, we've landed the F28 here. We could definitely operate this plane here on our route here. After all, this is Air France. I mean, check this out. I think, you know, landing-wise, this plane is approved. There we go. We did a very Okay, you know what? That wasn't too great. But we did stop. You know, this plane can fly at pretty, slow speed. Got a nice flaps of 42 degrees. No problem flying this plane at 110 knots. Not stalling out. That is a good sign and something we definitely need, considering again that we don't have any reverse thrust. I mean, the DC-9, you know, that time did feature that. Anyway, this has been pretty good. Let me try to fly some proper runways with, you know, maybe a longer version of this one. I mean, let's try the big one, the 4000. We have lots of liveries to choose from. Korean Air. This plane flew all around the world, also in military. Let me try Air New Guinea. Wow. Let me also go to Netherlands because that's where the plane is from. Let me go to Lelystad because that's a relatively interesting place. There we go. It's maybe now time to start this plane up. Yeah, so we go now on board the big one here. We've got all the doors open. We don't, you know, have lots of service going on, like no fueling trucks, but this is pretty all right. You could enter the plane, of course, via the stairs. Very good. Not as cool as the DC-9, though, where you could kind of enter through the back. Let me go ahead now, try to turn this plane on. This is always a very interesting challenge. Can we try and operate this plane here? Let's turn on the battery here. That's probably good. Let's turn on the external power because we do have that available. Electric power, that's okay. Let me also turn on the APU. We can already see, you know, this, you know, Cockpit has some sort of like used look, which is great because after all, this is what a real Fokker would look like nowadays. So come on, turn on that. I think. There we go. APU is now kind of coming on right there. We need 100%. Looking great. It's starting up. We can hear it here in the background coming on here. Air New Guinea. Looking great. So let's turn on the generator for that too. So we've got power. And so now we're ready to turn on the engines here. That's the engine panel. But before we do that, let me close the door because that's a bit stupid. Here we go. Now release the chocks. Close all that right there. Yeah. There we go. Stairs are coming up. This is what I'm talking about. Let's get also rid of the ground power. We won't need that anymore. Well, that was not a great animation. Good. And so now we're ready for engine start. Now this turns on the bleed air. Looking great. Yep, there we go. Starter. Oh, yeah. All right, there we go. RPM is coming on. We don't have an N2 compressor. We only have an N1. Only singular compressor. Very basic engine. There we go. We're spooling up. Our engines are starting up. Let me get rid of this very bad weather here in Netherlands. Come on here now. Give it some feel too. And so here we go. Here we are. We are on a plane that's turned on. Now, one of the quirks is, of course, the throttle. You can see right here, there's two separate throttles. The thing that doesn't... Oh, God, we're moving. Okay, then I think we're ready to go. Let's maybe just spawn onto the runway. Now we can take off here. Full power now. Come on, let's go full power, please. Yeah, let's get some flaps out here. Oh, yeah, this plane is very loud. Definitely a limit of old planes back then, for sure. All right, come on. Oh, there we go. Now we're reaching proper speeds here. And I think we can already kind of rotate here. Take off with the 4000 variant. And we needed a proper amount of this runway. Oh, God, what's happened? I've crashed the Fokker plane. Great. Yes, that's something that happened a lot, of course, too. I mean, after all, this is a plane from the 60s. So the list of accidents and incidents are is quite long here. We've got lots of crashes here all the way up into 2003 here. And we're crashing once again. My flying is not very good today, but we might just want to take off here. There we go. We're looking at 100 knots, 120 knots, 140. Now we might be able to take off without stalling the plane out. There we go. Looking great. Now let's not crash, please. Yeah, at 160 knots, we're good. So I don't hate this at all. Something we also have is a nice addition of smoke here. Kind of just putting our carbon footprint into visuals. Sorry, the Fokker plane is happy, and so I am. I think overall, this is a great plane. Good old little eyebrow window here included with it. Dave's happy. I think this is absolutely good. Will this win any short runway competitions? Not really. Is this plane very interesting to fly? Yes, for sure. You know, get into this vintage world on a plane that you wouldn't really fly nowadays, right? That kind of makes it special. I'm definitely going for a Swiss 01 approved on this one. So everybody, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, good night.
Now, thank you very much to my highly supporting members like Jamie Ashton, Mike C, James Duram, Ragings, Met RLG, Matt Fan Z, Moritz, Bellhausen, Knots Enthusiast, Shadow, New York, Ryland Williams, Kelly Chaos, John O'Brien, and I'm addicted to Airbus A380s.